can't see you as I'm not facing the camera myself. I'm not facing the screen
Uh,
myself.
okay.
Daniel is you can just.
Yes,
Guys, we
your
are live
camera
now.
looks a bit zoomed to me. Is this your desk camera or are you using like yeah, now it looks better.
There it is. Yeah, for some reason it zoomed in.
Yeah.
This is so
You
exciting
look
for
handsome.
our startup on live.
Yeah, we are live now,
Hey,
guys.
everybody, camera issues. Let's get started here.
Welcome everyone to this special live session brought to you by Line Product. I'm your host Rahima Wasti, marketing executive at Line Product. Today we are having privilege of diving into the world of innovation with none other than our founder, Mr. Philip Cutting. We are thrilled to discuss the exciting new features of ChatGPT-4o and how it compares to its predecessor, ChatGPT-4. Thank you for joining us, Philip.
Thank you, dear. I am so excited for today's call. ChatGPT 4o has been really amazing. And on top of that, have you seen the prices on it? It's insane.
Yeah. Philip, let's start with new features of ChatGPT 4. What are some of the standout advancements in this version?
Okay, great. So GPT-4 4.0, we've gone through some increments on this one, haven't we? This introduces several groundbreaking features, and some of those include natural and more fluid conversation, multimodal context. So now we can work with images. We can have live video. It can look at video and interpret that. It can interpret audio. So everything that we've been wanting to do before, where we said, hey, look at this video, or hey, am I breathing right? How am I breathing? All that stuff we can now do. And it's also come with quite a healthy size context window. So super excited for a bunch of the changes that they made on this one.
Yeah, that sounds really impressive. I've noticed that customization options can really make a difference in the user experience. How do you see this impacting businesses?
Okay, great question. So for businesses, the customization options mean that they can fine tune the AI to match their brand's voice and style, and lending to a more personalized customer experience. But also, it can draw on some of their knowledge inside the organization to help improve the overall interaction and customization of their style and feedback, but also knowledge to give that to their clients where
Yes,
appropriate,
that
probably.
sounds great. Makes sense. Yeah. Let's delve into the comparison between ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 4o. What are the major differences that users should be aware of?
Okay, so some of the differences lie in the AI's robustness, precision, and accuracy. So 4.0 has undergone some extreme refinements in handling more complex tasks with greater efficiency. And its response time is faster. It can process larger data sets with more efficiency and effectiveness. And additionally, the accuracy in the understanding and generation of context relative to the question and prompting has been significantly enhanced.
All right, that makes sense. That was great from a marketing perspective. This precision and accuracy can lead to more effective campaigns and customer engagement. Would you agree to that?
Yes, absolutely. So when marketing teams have access to an AI that can precisely understand and respond to customer needs, it allows them more to have more targeted and impactful campaigns, for example, or responses to directly creating content or engagements, right? So this level of precision is really going to help craft some amazing messaging that's going to help resonate with their target audience. So that said, they're going to have to spend a little bit more time looking at the data that they're getting from their clients, how clients are buying and interacting with their services and products, and to take that and develop a set of very detailed avatars for their clients. And the system is actually going to help build that.
All right. Philip, robustness is a term that we hear quite often. Can you explain what makes ChatGPT 4o more robust compared to its predecessor?
Certainly. So the robustness of 4o comes from its ability to handle a wider range of queries and provide reliable outputs more consistency, less daydreaming, less kind of imagining in there per se. So it's been achieved through advanced training techniques and more extensive data sets, along with the ability for uh, AI systems to create and train its own data and
Mhm.
to compare multimodal talents inside coach, not multimodal talents, but multiple kind of professionals in there, specialized AIs.
Mhm. Yes, in terms of real world applications, how do you see the robustness benefiting industries?
Okay,
What do you
terrific.
have? What's your take on that?
So my thoughts are that industries are going to rely heavily on accurate information as they have before, but also they're going to be relying that the feedback that they're getting is going to also be appropriate to the context window of the target. So if it's direct interaction with the clients, it'll give the appropriate responses. If it's dealing with a person that's in between, you'll be able to be trained to have flexibility in support of rather than full communication thereof, right? So we're going to find that this is going to be incredibly valuable, and its robustness is going to help ensure that we can rely more heavily on it for things like legal services, healthcare, even, right? Sam is talking about pretty soon hoping to see some real medical apps coming out of this, and I don't know if he meant like surgery, robotic surgery being assisted by AI, or if he's thinking more consultative personal care. But think finance, think any kind of profession. It's really exciting.
All right, that makes completely sense. And here we are gonna move to our next question. That is precision and accuracy are pivotal in AI development. How has ChatGPT 4o improvised in these areas?
Okay, so 4O's precision and accuracy has improved. Improvements
Mhm.
essentially stem from the algorithms and deeper neural network layers. As I
Mhm.
said, that they've developed deeper layering, and they've also developed targeted models that they can then
Mhm.
go and critique each other and see which model is
Exactly.
producing the best results, right? So now you may think that you're dealing with one AI, but you may be dealing with at this point maybe 100. Who knows? It's come quite exciting. I think it's looking at the difficulty of the question and the precision based off its own critiquing between the professionals of the particular AIs.
Yeah, I've seen firsthand how these improvements can elevate user satisfaction. Do you have any examples of this in this action?
Okay, certainly. So for instance, customer service. 4o can now handle detailed and complex queries without
Mhm.
losing the thread of the conversation. Keep in mind,
All right.
I think the current context window is 128,000 tokens. That's around 100,000 words, right? That's a long story. I can't remember how many pages that is, but it's certainly a good book. The Bible, I was looking at it, the Bible is around 1,200,000 tokens. So
Okay.
keep in mind that's only about, I mean, that's not even quite 10 times larger than the context window now.
Mm-hmm.
If that's a helpful
Yes.
comparison of what you're looking at least a good chapter.
That certainly is. And can you share some insights into the research work that went into developing ChatGPT 4o?
Okay, so interesting. The development of 4o has involved extensive research in collaboration with leading AI experts worldwide. Uh, you can bet they're looking at open source projects and how the community is feeding back into those. And what the royal we, focused on advancing natural language processing and machine learning techniques. So there's multiple um, technological vectors that are being applied at the same time, but it's mind
Right.
blowing. It's really just mind blowing. So I'm super excited.
It
But
is.
it's coming to the point super rapidly where we're looking at um, integrating science, user interactions, psychology for people, and applying that to how our systems ought to respond, and also looking at making sure that we're prioritizing ethical considerations and practices when it comes to what's allowed to be put out in the world, to how an AI system thinks or operates, even though it's a largely a black box. Even if they do give it a scratch pad in the development mode, I would love to see it scratch pad in production mode, but I suspect we'll never see that until they do some legislation. But yeah, just the technology is responding to the need that we're finding ourselves, and as humans, we are creative monsters, right? For good or bad, right? The Beauty and the Beast. We
Absolutely
have the
right.
need to create, and we've done this. We've created this system that is helping us grow ourselves, and
Mhm.
obviously ethical issues are going to abound.
Yes, that was an absolute beautiful answer to all those questions. It's fascinating to see the dedication and expertise behind these innovation. How do you envision the future of AI evolving with such advancements?
So the future of AI is incredibly promising. We've conducted and continue to conduct research, and we're going to, as a species, we're going to continue development. So internally, not, I mean, not just us, right? But inside our company, we conduct research, we do use cases, and we study the interactions and how it works with people and how the technology is going to support current needs and future needs. So this is just going to continue along this vector, and I suspect it's going to grow at an exponential rate that we can't even fathom. I mean, right now, I don't know if there's people alive as smart, right? That's kind of a loaded term, but with the ability to combine information the way our AI systems are. So I think the key is just going to be to ensure that these advancements are made ethically, that they focus on humanity, and that we continue to develop the specialists inside the AI systems. That we maybe, well, I mean, I think the rabbit's going to be out of the hole, right? I was about to say that we make sure we maintain power over the networks that these AI systems are on, but they're already in small devices. So with Microsoft putting the AI on their systems locally, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cat's out of the kettle. I don't think there's any way to stuff her in. So the best we can do is try to create ethical AIs that are going to strive to serve and to make sure that these systems don't turn sci-fi.
Yes, absolutely beautiful answer to that. We're gonna move to the next question. That is, can you explain how the improved contextual understanding in ChatGPT-4o enhances the AI's ability to manage multi-turn conversation?
Okay, terrific. So I had we with 128,000 token context window, we I don't know. There's something I have to look into, which is how many tokens does an image take up, right? And based off the current models and pricing, I'd say maybe a few hundred words, and I suspect it's a few hundred tokens. I suspect on a regular image because it's not. I don't think it's really concerned about storing of the images as much as it's able to look at a picture, say this person's smiling, it looks like they're doing this, and you can really refine a lot of that information down into a precise summary, and which you can then infer a
Yes,
lot more
right.
out of. So basically, we have a large context window where we can keep going back and forth on a long conversation. And I would be curious to see how they are handling the memory management and degrading information that's useless while promoting information that's important to keep the conversation going. But currently, we're able to show images. It's maintaining those. store files. It's maintaining those. It's referencing those as it needs to be. It seems to be handling very well the memory management. And it looks like it's really able to look at a person's apparent positioning and facial expressions and get a lot of information out of it, similar to what a scientist would say or a psychologist would say based off of those kind of interactions, or maybe even better.
Yes, makes sense. With the enhanced customization options in ChatGPT-4o, what are some creative ways businesses can utilize these features to improve their customer service interactions?
I think it's going to be a lot easier for us to think of ways that we can utilize it than it is for us to slow down a second and say, how
Yes.
should I use this? How do I protect people's privacy and let them know what components of this technology that I'm using? So right now it's very easy to say, to have the phone look at the person, look for micro responses, and then manipulate them into serving this kind of interest. And what do I have to say to slowly graduate this person into this mindset? It's going to be tempting for marketers, right, to do this, and for the big three-letter organizations in America are going to probably love that also. But we have, as business owners, we have to make sure that we are keeping our clients' best interests at heart and think, how would they feel if they knew that I was using this part of the technology, right? And a lot of the times people are going to be good with it as long as they know what you're doing, right? So if you're, I think it's going to come a time where we have to say our intent is this, right? This is part of what we want to do and to drive it towards that section, right? So if you're using multimodal camera recognition, right, and the AI is responding to you, it's trying to make sure you're healthy. That if it's being like a psychologist for you, for example, then it needs to see that how you're responding. It needs to plan for it. It needs to know what your healthcare goals are and drive you towards that. And that's wanted, right? But if you're, if I do that, right, and my goal is, for example, to have you do a meditation app, right? That may start getting into fuzzy area where it's like, hey, Phil, I like the meditation app. I like the meditations I select, but I don't want you trying to derive a path for me for my happiness, right? I just want you to kind of stay in your lane. It's cool that the app may give me advice about my breathing and my posture, but don't go any further than that, right? So
Yeah,
I think those considerations.
into ways. Yes. And how has the advanced training data used in ChatGPT-4o contributed to its improved ability to handle complex and nuanced language?
That's a fun question. Have you noticed that in 4o, the context window of data from the web is from October 23? So we're looking at 6-month-old data now, ish, right? And so things are pretty well up to date. Pretty exciting on that one that we finally have data. Also, we're able to say, hey, go out, check this website, come back, give me this information, load files, and all that. So as far as how we are training it, there's a lot of questions out there, right? There's a lot of controversy around the Sky Voice from the demo, right? Is this actually kind of like a stolen voice? Is this a simulation of a voice? It's very curious. We don't have a lot of information on this. My guess is that there's some. My feeling is this is going to become something we have to address as a society, right? So, what's the difference between open information, like a public information on a website or YouTube or Twitter or TikTok, right? That if a person can go there and read through it, should an AI be able to go through there and read through it? I think you're going to have to define these as a society and what makes sense. So there's going to be, I think, some new, really kind of cultural appreciation for how this fits together and how we protect privacy and train things. It's a good question.
Yes, again, tremendously answered that question. Now we're going to dive into our next question. That is, in terms of data privacy, how does ChatGPT 4o ensure that user data is protected while still providing personalized interactions? As we have already spoken about it.
Yeah, I touched on this a little bit. They say they don't use any of the data for training, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know where the truth in this is. I would consider any information that you put anywhere in the world online as public information, right? I think nowadays we really have to realize that Big Brother's watching. We ourselves want information to be recorded and useful to us. So the I wouldn't rely on any systems stated privacy statements, but their stated privacy seems to be fairly good. That they're not going to use your data for training for business responses. They're probably not even using your likes or dislikes for actual training. I think they're using that to build your personal profile preferences and the responses that you're looking for. So I wouldn't be afraid to say, "Hey, I like this. It's cool. It's bad," but I also wouldn't. I wouldn't put private information in there that is sensitive to your clients, confidential, or they couldn't be out in the world. I don't really feel like it's an issue, but I just don't know how far I go. I won't trust it personally. So I'll say at least that much.
No, that makes sense. What are some of the challenges faced during development of ChatGPT 4o, particularly regarding the integration of ethical AI practices?
Oh my goodness, what a fun question. So we know there's legislation trying to be drafted up to create boards to oversee it, to make it so that maybe big companies can only run AI. The This is going to become something that we have to fight with over the next 2 to 3 years to refine how the world wants it. And I think it's not going to be possible for us to say how AI is going to be managed to force AI to be ethical, because it's going to be in the hands of a lot of free agents out there. And I think it's just like, you know, one country learns how to make a gun, the next country makes a bigger one, right? You have criminals out there that make different kinds of guns that do different things, right? So I it's really going to become a world where we're going to have police AIs, and we're going to have to just try to be ethical and open. And I wish we could say that we would make AI just all open source anyways. There's enough of it that is, so that a lot of private research can be done. That's a good thing. But it's we live in a world where there's going to be people that keep secrets and that develop things in ways that are unhealthy. So we have to be creative and find ways to protect ourselves in society from that.
Certainly. Can you describe how ChatGPT 4o's faster response time is archived technically, and how this improvement benefits real-time applications?
I couldn't answer how it's actually technically achieved. The
Okay.
I think that's a fun discussion. I should read some more into the science of it whenever I get a chance to catch my breath. I think what's more important is that there's going to be complexity in these systems that's more than a person can understand, and to look at how you can use it now today, and also keep an eye on where it's going to go in the future, so that you don't build things in a way that's going to be easily replace all your hard work in future generations. But as far as how it's technically achieved, I don't know. I know that it's interesting to me is it's half the price of Turbo, right? So, for
All
example,
right.
1 million tokens on OpenAI's API was $30 for no, it was $60 for Turbo, $30 for 4.0, and not 4.0, for like just four. And now I think it's $15 per million tokens for 4.0.
All right, that makes sense. That does. And there is a question from the side of our audience that is, what are ethical considerations businesses should keep in mind while using AI?
I think there's some key principles in ethics that we start with. One is disclosing how we're how we're using people's private information, right?
Mhm.
Maybe I think everybody should assume that AI is being used. I don't think you should have to disclose that. That doesn't make sense, right? It'd be like saying I'm a carpenter and I don't use a hammer, right? So
Yes.
I think people just
Yes.
nowadays have to assume it's everywhere and it's being used. What I think needs to be done is you need to say to your clients, I'm using your age and your personal information to try to build a use case that gives you the best customization possible. And we collect whatever information we have. For example, video, voice, we listen to how you do this, and that should be fairly open. People, I think clients pretty soon need to expect that, just like you do when you're using your computer now. Can it access my video? Can it access my audio? Right? Can it access my location? Based off that, it can essentially pull off a lot of information. I'm curious how long it's going to take before, like, or even if now, if I asked 4o to say, hey, can you recognize my genetic base? Can you tell if I'm Caucasian or Irish or Italian? Right? Not by my accents, but by the physics of the way my voice is, or the natural inclinations or expressions that I make. I think it's going to come to stuff like that. So as far as the ethical considerations, I think it's just a matter of transparency and trying to make sure that you're not black boxing it. Same ethical considerations we take nowadays, knowing that, when you do good, you get good. If you try to, you don't always get good, right? But at least try to do good, and not use black hat practices, because they tend anyways to be short-minded, short-term gains with fairly harsh kickbacks when people realize what's going on. So if you couldn't state what you're doing publicly, not giving away your private secrets, right? Companies protect its intellectual property and its value proposition, but that's different than saying, "Hey, grandma, this is what I'm doing," and grandma not smacking you.
Yeah, indeed. And how can businesses use ChatGPT for to enhance customer service?
I think it's already taking over call centers. It's going to make.
It is, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm say that last part again.
Yeah, how can businesses use ChatGPT 4o to enhance customer service? That was the question.
Okay, that's true. So it's going to take over call centers. It's going to take over chat bots. Already, we're finding. I think there's a study done, and I can't reference it. I got to look for it. But there's a study done that people prefer now AI support over human support because they're getting faster responses. They're not getting bounced around to multiple different call centers or offices, and they're getting solutions that are fairly optimal to their actual problem. So and that they're finding the knowledge base of AI is probably more significant than those of most standard employees especially when it comes to technical things. So I think it's only going to be used more and more in every aspect of the business, and I think you want to enable that, and but you also want to say, hey, I don't want to go into a website or a call and think that I'm talking to Sky, that's a person,
Exactly.
right? And then it's like, okay, I'm the AI now. No, you should be, hey, I'm AI Sky, and I'm going to help you out. And if you ever want to talk to a real person, just let me know, right? Is it cool? We keep going, right? And just throw that out there. Let the people decide what they want. And of course, there's going to be economics involved. Maybe it's based off budget pricing, and people have to realize that's the level of support they get with that kind of price range that they're able to pay or willing to pay on that service, and to be satisfied there. But I think as long as it's you're giving people options as much as the company is able to. Maximize it, use it everywhere you can, and just let people know when it's being AI and when it's human creativity and when it's a combination. Mostly, I think it's going to find in the higher service products, in the highest service products, the done for you everything, it's going to be heavily AI based for information and referrals. But there's going to be a team of people making choices based off of that and integrating those solutions and giving the client quick basic feedback. They're going to provide that basic feedback to the AI, and the AI is going to send that back to the client, and the people are going to be there on the calls. On the lower end products, I expect it's going to be all AI handled, and people are just going to fairly appreciate that, knowing that they're getting the economies of scale that comes with that, and the limitations that come with it, and the limitations are shrinking rapidly.
Yes, that does answer our question. And there's another question from our audience that is, what are some common misconceptions about GPT-4o and everyday applications? Since it's been used a lot in these things, so yeah, it does make mistakes.
Yeah, it still makes mistakes, and I don't know if they've really solved the problem of referencing sources in meaningful ways. So you still need to trust but verify, and that verification is getting
Exactly.
kind of harder nowadays. But I think some recent changes have made it so that it's easier for you to get to those references of core supporting documents. So I don't think we're going to get where things are information is referenced, but I think it's come to the point where you can say, hey, give me some supporting references for this. It'll then find that for you and use that to help verify and develop your personal knowledge. And I think what you have to do, just like apps, need to develop a focus or a niche that they specialize in, so they improve themselves over time.
Absolutely. Now, Philip, as we wrap up the insightful session, do you have anything to say to our audience regarding ChatGPT 4o?
Okay, yeah, I'd like to emphasize that 4.0 represents a huge leap in technology forward from where we were in just 4 and Turbo, right? Turbo came in and it was faster. It gave us better experts, right? But this has given us multimodal. It's given us huge robustness of grasp technology, of context window, and it's just going to become a more and more accurate tool that can help support our businesses, that can help us innovate and be creative. And I just say, don't lose your soul in the ease that AI gives us. Take it and take it as an advisor or as a guide, and create beautiful, amazing things that are going to get humanity and you to the next level.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for your participation and your engaging questions. Until next time, keep innovating and stay curious.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.